Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Kentucky's senators make a visit to some of the hard-hit counties continuing to clean up and recover after devastating flooding. And ARH needs some extra help with helping people impacted by the flooding get back on their feet.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning to you. It's Wednesday and it's just before 5 o'clock. I'm Dakota Makris. Thanks for waking up with us. And well, let's head on over to Brandon Robinson for a look at our forecast this morning. And Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, flood watch?
Yes,
okay.
Flood watch continues, and I'll go more in detail about that here in a minute. But so far, so good, Dakota. We've not had any major reports of flooding. Let's hope it stays that way for another day or so. Let's take a look at satellite radar. For the last 6 hours, there was some rain out there a little bit last night, but that dissipated overnight there, so that's some good news. Might even wake up with a little bit of sunshine this morning in some spots, but again, don't get your hopes up too much. You're going to wake up with some fog, I can tell you that. It's trying to show up a little bit on Doppler. You see those patchy green splotches out there. That is some fog this morning, and you see it on the visibility map there. Logan, Harlan, Jacksboro, Moorhead, Middlesboro, and Wise, all under that 5-mile threshold this morning. So continue to be careful. Hit some patchy, dense fog on my way in this morning, but it was not as bad as yesterday morning, so it's a little bit better out there. Temperatures very similar to yesterday across the region. 64 Clintwood, Wise, 68 Jonesville, 69 Harlan, Manchester, and Middlesboro, 68 Williamsburg. Everybody else is in the 70s. It looks like Prestonsburg and Wayne are the warm spots this morning at 73. Your breakfast forecast. Stay weather aware because we're going to have more rain chances, especially later today. We could see some sunshine mixed in with the clouds a little bit this morning, but some fog will greet you as you start your day early. Dakota?
Brennan, thank you. Just one day after President Joe Biden's visit, Senator Mitch McConnell made the rounds in Pike, Letcher, Knott, and Floyd counties. Senator McConnell went to Fleming Neon Middle School, talking with the mayor of Neon, Susie Polis, as well as volunteers and teachers. He gave his support and promised the federal government is in it for the long haul.
These kind of catastrophes, as awful as they are, bring out the best in everyone, the very best in everyone. And we're so grateful for your hope and your optimism. And I want to tell you from a federal government point of view, state government's involved as well, deeply involved. From a federal government point of view, we're going to be here until the job is finished, no matter how long that takes.
Senator McConnell thanked President Joe Biden for coming to Eastern Kentucky and said the recovery will not be a political statement from either side. Senator Rand Paul also visited our region and talked with flood survivors and local leaders in Perry, Knott, and Letcher counties yesterday. He heard stories from those survivors and what their needs are, along with what the biggest needs in specific counties are. He says right now they need money to rebuild and says counties should be allowed to dip into their COVID relief money for those efforts.
We're writing a letter to the president, but we're also writing a letter to the governor to get the money as soon as possible and to free it up to let the counties make the decisions best to use it. And it sounds to me like the most pressing thing is the water systems, getting the water systems up and running.
Well, we talked with one flood survivor yesterday who says he hopes Senator Paul will take his story and many others like his back to Washington. Governor Beshear says search and rescue teams will remain in Eastern Kentucky with the possibility of more flooding in the forecast. He says 190 National Guard members are also in the impacted areas and have delivered more than 38,000 cases of water and meals. The governor expects the state will transition from an emergency response to stabilization mode today. He says he's hopeful there is not more flooding that hinders recovery efforts.
Certainly, if we can get through tomorrow night without major flooding, we'll be able to allow some of the federal search and rescue folks to go home. I mean, they've now been helping us for a while. But the next 2 days are of significant concern. Folks have been through too much.
Governor Beshear says it's likely within the next month there will be a special session in Frankfort to approve flood relief for Eastern Kentucky. As days go by and cleanup continues, Appalachian Regional Health Care is hoping to meet the needs of Eastern Kentucky, but it needs your help to do so. Lately, ARH has been collecting water, cleaning supplies, and non-perishable food items, but now it's asking for work gear, camping supplies, dehumidifiers, and baby formula. ARH President and CEO Holly Phillips says donations have started to slow down a bit, but she hopes that won't be for long.
We're going to keep collecting until we feel the need is met out there.
ARH is sending supplies to hospitals in Hyden, Hazard, and Whitesburg. Those places are functioning as distribution sites. It is also collecting donations through its website. All funds will go to flood victims. Well, on Tuesday, hundreds of water filtration systems were dropped off to put into homes this week. Water with Blessings is a nonprofit water purification ministry. The filters are designed to provide people with safe, clean and healthy water. We will have more information on the filters later in the week, but for now, you can reach out to Chavy's First Church of God for more information about how to get access to a filter. The annual Bluegrass Care Navigators and WSGS Radio Day in Hazard is usually focused on raising money for hospice care, but this year the fundraiser was a little different. In addition to fundraising for hospice care, those behind the Radio Day on WSGS wanted to raise money for Eastern Kentucky flood relief too, with several hospice care staff being personally impacted by the flood, all while still caring for patients. Radio Day coordinators say it only felt right to highlight both efforts.
Every organization has the opportunity today to come down and tell if they need something, if they have things to give, so this is a way for all of Eastern Kentucky to partner together, and we can help flood victims as well as hospice patients.
More than $16,000 raised for hospice from yesterday's Radio Day will go directly to the patients at the Hazard facility, and around $2,000 raised for flood relief will go to the Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund. Well, thank you so much for getting your Wednesday started with us here on Mountain News this morning. When we come back, energy experts predict some increases in the use of electricity here in the U.S. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes.
It looks like our flood watch is going to stick around a little longer than expected, like Cousin Eddie overstaying its welcome. I'll track the rain in about 3 minutes.